Alright, so this is my setup now. Got the old Scion unit. These were from usually I think like a 2006 and the 2006 Scion XB. These were kind of cool to do 8-10 years ago because it is made by Pioneer and it's a plug and play deal. All factory wiring. You just took out your old unit, plugged this in, and then it also gave you the ability to plug in an iPod. This was on the Scion XBs, like down here. That little guy wouldn't fit there, so I just put it in the glove box, and then you plugged in your iPod or iPhone. Problem is, this was cool back in the old 11-pin days. Now everything's gone to the, what is it, the lightning bolt cable. So it basically, at this point, I don't have an iPod or iPhone to plug this thing into, so it became kind of worthless. And it is time to pull this out and put in a proper head unit that has Apple CarPlay and all that good stuff. Also, another reason I'm switching is, so this is what I usually ran for navigation. Put my little iPad mini here and do it that way. But now Gaia GPS they've basically made it work with CarPlay. So now everything will come through your radio, and that is, I can either take the iPad out completely or repurpose it for another navigation and run too. But I would like to get rid of the iPad. It's just less clutter on the dash, less things vibrating around, and CarPlay is just cool. Join the 21st century and not run outdated crap in your 90s vehicle. So that's what I'm doing. So this is the second upgrade I've done on the radio, and it should be good. So now I am going to take out the dash. I do have to replace this plastic bezel because to fit this guy, and I'll show you when I pull it out, you have to basically hack off a little bit of the radio and hack off this, because this is a little bit bigger than a double din, and I'm replacing it with a double din. So here we go. Let's take this off. It's pretty easy. If I remember, you pull your ashtray, 2 screws here, the 2 screws here, and then it just pops out, and then you pull off all your pigtails around the side to pull it all the way out. And I can't remember if this gets in the way. I may have to pull the shifter off, but I don't think I do. We'll find out here in a minute. All right, I got so you're gonna have screw here, here, and the 2 there, and then after that you can just start pulling it out. And it's just got some little clips that hold it on. I'm not real gentle. First time I was gentle and nothing comes out, and then you just realize you just got to manhandle stuff. So you just got, if you've never taken it off, clip there. Looks like I had a clip here. Sometimes they get stuck in the back. Oh, not that clip. That was a screw hole. But usually, sometimes these clips will come off, and they're usually stuck in there. So if you don't see it, it's there. All right, so I'm going to pull this out, and then we'll compare a hacked up one. You can see where it's hacked up here to a new one. All right, so I got most of it out. Just FYI, these AC plugs here, for some reason, are just a booger to get out. I think because they're so long, they bind up, but it's just a little press. But the press doesn't ever, you know, it's got to get 2 hands going and kind of wiggle it out. So if you get to that and you get kind of stumped, it's not you, it's everyone. Or maybe it's just me and you, I don't know. Maybe I suck at it and you're good. All right, so now we have the faceplate off. We're gonna pull off, there's 4 screws. You got 1, 2, and then the equivalent on this side. You can see it back there, then there's 1 right there. All right, got everything out, and we are ready to put new stereo in. A couple things I have to do first is do the wiring. So what I did was I got the Metra 701761, and it is for 87 and up Toyota. So this stereo comes with a parking brake thing. I don't know if that's, I may run that. If not, you can just ground it if you want to use the radio not in park. Those pesky safety police telling you what you can and can't do. It does have a reverse in camera. I'm not doing reverse camera at this time. And then I don't know what that is. That is, I don't know what that is. We won't use that either. So I'm just gonna splice these together real quick and then we'll get going from there. All right, so before I put the stereo in, I gotta do the wiring. So they give you, not only will the Sony manual give you what wires go to what color-wise, the Metra wiring gives you the same thing. So you'll just connect your Metra harness to the Sony. And so what I do is I like using these uninsulated butt connectors, if I can get it to focus. Right there. Crimp those on and then I put the heat shrink over it. A little tip, what I've learned over the years of not doing this correct is I put all my shrink on the wire, put all my ends on, because it never fails. And I imagine with all these, whatever, 12 wires or so, one of these will slip off and then you will crimp it together and then you won't have any heat shrink on there. So as I get older, I start realizing things like that, and it's just one thing, always learning, always learning. See people either I watch YouTube, watch people make mistakes and learn from them, or they teach me the mistake they've done that I've done, and then I fix it. This is just one of those things. It's so simple, but we've all been there. And it sucks that you have 12 wires perfectly heat shrunk and crimped, and then you have the one that you got to use electrical tape, because if you cut the wire, then you're gonna have a little bunch up, because not everything's the same length. So I'm gonna go through, crimp all these, make a nice little wiring harness, and then we'll get back to installing the stereo. All right, so now I got I didn't even miss any shrink tubing, but so I got everything soldered, or not soldered together, crimped together, and it is one connector going on the radio and two going into the Toyota harness. So now what I'm going to do is kind of beautify it. Not needed. I could probably just put some electrical tape in a few areas, but I like using this nice braided weave stuff, and then I use Tessa tape. All right, so I am done with making it look pretty. Just, you know, now they can rub all they want. It's not going to rub through the wire. I did add the parking brake. I figure if I'm going to do it, let's do it right. Run it at the parking brake. The other thing you can do is, if you want to do it while driving, you can just ground this anywhere on the body, and then it thinks it has the parking brake on, so you can fiddle with the radio. Since that one wasn't part of the connector, I just used a little weather pack connector, a single pin, and connected it that way, so I can always pull this off and not have to worry about that one wire that's in there that is stuck. So now we are going to install the radio. All right, so got both got the radio out. Ready to put the other one in. One thing to remember is so this is what came out. So you gotta want to remember to take this bracket off. This is your factory radio bracket, and it will fit. I actually had another pair laying around. It fits right onto the Sony unit. These brackets are not Toyota specific. What I did find was the Scion version matched the 80 version, but the 70 version was different than the 80. So for the 75, I had to order brackets. For the 80, I just obviously reused the factory brackets, or I had the Scion unit brackets laying around, and they just fit right on. So you're good to go there. So now let's compare the radios together. So we got, get some better light here. All right, so obviously this is the Pioneer Scion unit. This is a Sony unit, and what I like about this unit is this is a true double DIN. This is a double DIN, but it uses only a single dent and brain. So you have plenty of room to tuck cables under here. Gets a little tight in the 80. And this one is long. And this one actually is a little bit shorter. So that works out good too. You're not smashing wires in the back. But like I was saying earlier, we'll go look at, this is the new bracket. And let me grab bracket out of here. Still has everything in it. I don't need that today. All right, so you see how I had to hack up this one. Basically sanded down the edge all the way. Basically this whole lip has to go away to put in a Scion unit. So you can't, once you booger up this one, you're not going to go back to a normal radio. I had this one as a spare. Now also I painted this to match the brown here, and it matches pretty good. I just didn't like the black. Wanted some accents, kind of. See, I painted that too. I kind of like that look, but I don't feel like painting today, nor do I remember even what kind of paint this was. I'm sure it's somewhere over there in the messy ass garage. So for now, I'm just gonna go back to black. I mean, literally it only takes 5 minutes to pull that off if I want to paint it later on. I just want to make sure everything fits. The other thing that sucks on these 80s is when you pull off that wood trim, like this one, you can still see the goop there. Wait for a 100-degree day and then pull it, and hopefully all the stickiness comes with it, because if you do it in winter, you're going to end up with a bunch of crap. You're just going to sit there all day trying to chisel it off. Alright, so back in the vehicle, one thing I am going to run that I didn't mention earlier is the microphone for the phone. That will come in handy. So what I did, I already had my ham radio set up and some Cat 5 run up here for the mic. So what I did was I just snaked that a long time ago up through here, and then coming around the A-pillar here. To get the A-pillar off, it's literally the grab handle. Take those screws off and then just pull down on this weather stripping, and then that piece just pops right out. And you can see that there's my Cat 5 and wiring. What I'll probably do is, you just want to make sure this doesn't fall down there and then you're pinching that. So what I'll probably do is, once I run this along that, just put some tape to hold it up above out of where the pinch parts are, which is basically where that raised section is there where the bolt goes. You just don't want to be right there and it'll pinch it. So I'm going to run that down there and then snake that somewhere back through here to the radio. And then I have my two USBs for the radio. One of them is for your phone for the CarPlay, and the other one is just for music. Both of them just USBs. I just snaked those. There's a whole big old gap up here that comes down above the glove box. And then same way for the satellite radio. Previously I had these two big ass boxes to run. I had to have a satellite and then one that goes to a Toyota to make everything jive. I don't need that anymore. What I usually did is crammed everything where the factory amp was that I took out. I don't use the factory amp behind here, and then it gives you plenty of room to cram a bunch of crap. And if you see back over there, I have my Dakota Digital speedo and tachometer boxes crammed up there too, and I had the satellite. So now I'm actually a smaller satellite box. It's only this little guy, and I'll just throw that over there and zip tie it with the rest of them, and just zip tie all the extra wiring. I just left my antenna from the last one, no need to run that, so I just unhooked that, hooked it into here, and then finish running this, and then we'll fire it up. Alright, so got my antenna routed, kind of taped all that stuff out of the way, and then getting it. So if you get back there, there is a gap where you can just get your hand reach up here and then snake it through and pull it through pretty easy. And then you just got to watch out when you put all the glove box back together that you don't pinch the wire, but there's plenty of slack to get all the way over here. And then now I'm just going to put all that back together, clean that up as I go, try to keep messes to a minimum. All right, I have radio installed. I've run all my wires, test fitting the faceplate, and little bit of a gap around, you can see, which kind of sucks. It looks kind of cheesy the way the gap goes. I'll have to look up and see if there's some sort of something I can do about that without I can probably cut on the CNC a piece that goes around it at work, but I don't know. I mean, it's okay, I guess. It does suck that that gap's there. I don't know if there's another model that fits that better, but we're just gonna go with it. Function over looks, I guess. So now take this thing, pull it back off. I gotta transfer the ashtray over, clean it up a little more, put all my switches in, and then go through that mess and just kind of clean up. But we're gonna fire it up here and make sure it works before I go and do all that business. All right, we're gonna fire it up. Turn the key to ACC and hope for the best. There we go, we got some stuff here. And we don't want to be demo off, English, date. It is, what is it? I don't even know the date today. March 8th. And 2020, and it is 1:45. Hey, look at that. Perfect. All right. Okay. Demo mode off, English, yes. For safety, do not watch or operate, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Thanks, safety police. All right. There it is. Satellite radio, I don't have tuned right now. I got to call in since I switched new radio. I gotta do that. So we'll go back. I want to try out CarPlay. All right. So let me do. All right. So we got iPhone cable, and now we're gonna find the one that is, what does that say? USB memory. That's for music only. Find the other one. All right. Here's USB 1. That one is, that says smartphone. We've got a smartphone. Plug it in and let's see what happens. All right, it's charging. That's always nice too, is when your phone charges. And unlock it. And here we go. That popped up. So now it's working over there. And there we go. CarPlay is working. And so what I want to see is if the Gaia GPS is on there. We need to find our apps. I do not. There it is. Look at that. I've got stuff. Now, I doubt I'm going to be able to control Gaia on here yet, especially if they just now got it configured. But man, that is awesome. It's like an upgrade to the stereo and just makes it this 90s era vehicle a little more modern. All right, so if you're going to be like me and want to go the step further and just kind of hide these wires, my plan is to pull the center console, drill a hole. That way I can put both these in here out of the way. And then you can just plug in your iPhone, throw it in here, and then it's out of the way, powering, but you get everything up here. So if you don't already know, it's just 3 bolts, one here, two here, and then the console will just pop right out. All right, I got the center console out, and let's see what we find down here. We got a straw wrapper. Ooh, French fry. Oh, if the dog was out here, he'd have a nice little treat. This mess here, here's a nice little garage door opener. Here, just a little side note, a relabeled Toyota switch put there, and hardwired into here. While I have this out, I may replace my battery because it's kind of not opening the garage like it should. But yeah, just hide that there, and you got yourself a remote for your garage door. I got my wires run here. This one I need to figure out where the, let's see here, parking brake ground is, or the little switch. So there should be something. There it is. Alright. So there's the switch. I'm pushing on it with my finger. Right there. That's the switch. Alright, so the switch, it's just a one wire, obviously it's just ground only. So I just added a uninsulated butt splice here, put heat shrink over it, ran that wire there, and then now I actually had this stuff on it. I had to cut it in half to make the cut, so instead of putting this back on, I'm just going to run this little piece of small wire loom. I also like to do this so then I know I was in here and I did that, because 10 years from now I ain't gonna remember I did that. So I know everywhere I go, put this on, I've messed with that electrical. Alright, so last thing I did was run the two USBs, and all I did was use a step bit and drill a hole from the bottom, poked a hole through the little carpet, and added my iPhone cable, and now that can just live in there on top of all that junk that usually goes in here. So that's nice. So then when start it up, let's see if it starts up in CarPlay. Yeah, I don't. So yeah, there it goes. And then you have the different views. And there is, I'm trying to think, music. There's the stuff on the phone. And then home gets you back to here. So Sirius radio. Kind of nice. So there you have it. Alright guys, there you have it. Taking out the old crap and upgrading to newer stuff in the 80 series. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this is helpful. Let me know what you guys have put in y'all's 90s era vehicles, whether it's a modern radio or keeping it old. This thing goes into all long haul trips. Anything fun around me is 8 hours away, so I need tunes when I'm driving. This isn't a coffee run, show it off on Sundays deal where I don't need a radio. So there you have it.